Hi, thank you very much for joining me on Thought is the List today. I did say I would be putting out a video that talks about the warning signs that indicate a person is in an abusive marriage or relationship. Well, this is the video. All right, so let's just dive into it. And I would like to start by putting out that anyone can be a victim of abuse. Anyone can fall into an abusive relationship. It doesn't matter their social, their financial, their educational, or even their spiritual status. The First Lady of Nigeria, I'm just saying, the First Lady of Nigeria can be in an abusive marriage. It doesn't matter that she is a powerful woman in the society or in the country. The woman selling kose on the street can be in an abusive marriage. The motivational speaker you see, the celebrity that you see and adore, your idol can be in an abusive relationship or marriage. So it doesn't matter the status of that person. So you do not see the symptoms or you do not see the warning signs that shows that this person can be in an abusive marriage or relationship, and you just sweep it under the carpet because you feel, nah, this person is a wealthy person, she belongs to the high class, high and mighty. It cannot be that she's in an abusive marriage or relationship. That is where you are wrong. Anyone. Well, I'm overbeating this. Let's just go straight into it. Now, when you see people with red eyes, that is one of the first things that shows that a person could be in an abusive relationship or could be facing abuse. When you see the person with red eyes, or the person is constantly having bruises on the body, having strained wrist, you can see that the person isn't looking good, looks sick, and you probably having patches on the head and all that. You can, for people who are fair in complexion, you can see black eyes. Okay, when you see black eyes, when you, under the eye here, when you see a black patch or black coloring against the normal tone of skin tone of the person, it could mean that the person is facing physical abuse. And another thing I would like to talk about is the fact that there is emotional abuse, emotional signs rather, sorry. And one of which can be that the person is extremely apologetic. Your pen falls and the person is just apologizing to you, sorry for throwing your pen or so. I don't know if you've met those kind of people, and you'd be like, it's not something serious that happened. Those people are used to begging their abusers. That is why you'd find most victims of abuse being so apologetic, because they're used to it. So it's like a default setting to always apologize for the most little things. And another thing again is the loss of interest in activities that person would usually enjoy. That person is withdrawing. The person would call you last minute and is calling off and saying that, hey, I cannot make it. You should look out for those people. It may not be abuse, not in all cases when someone calls you on last minute to cancel an event, but when you see someone withdrawing from activities that the person would normally enjoy to participate in, drawing away from it, it could be it could be a warning sign that person is in an abusive relationship or marriage. Low self-esteem, when the person doesn't no longer believes in himself as he would usually do, or the person doesn't believe in his abilities to do things. Okay, it could be that person is being abused. Now, there is one thing again I'd like to put out. Domestic abuse is not just the physical, okay? It's not just the emotional part of it, but the entirety of abuse is around control. There is just one goal and one motive by the abuser, and that is to control the life of his victim. I want to control what she eats, what she wears, how she lives her life, what she does with her life, who she does it with. It's all about the control. Now let's go back to what I was talking about. And another thing is sleeping habits. Their sleeping habits becomes terrible. It's either the person doesn't sleep at night, or doesn't have enough sleep, or have a lot of sleep. I did share on this platform that one of the victim of abuse that shared her story with me, I couldn't put a lot of it out there. That is the domestic violence My Untold Story series that I'm doing. And she says that when he told her, the moment her husband told her then husband told her that he would press her head with pillow at night and she would die and no one would know what happened to her. Now, she stopped sleeping in the night entirely. She stopped sleeping in the night. The only time she would catch a sleep is when probably he's sleeping. When she noticed that he's deep asleep, then she'd now sleep. But she would make sure she wakes up before him. Now, in her case, she is not having enough sleep. And by the time it's daytime, that is when she gets to sleep, because the abuser is not around at that moment. So that is when she's able to sleep. Despite the fact that I think, now this is my own opinion, she sleeps during the daytime when he isn't around. But do you think she would completely sleep even during daytime? I doubt so. Why? Because in her head, it is already registered in her head that someone is coming after her life when she is asleep. He has said it with his mouth and into her ears, and it has gone into her head already. So that kind of person would not have enough sleep. Before you know, the person is having eye bags and all that. That is an indication that a person may be in an abusive relationship or marriage. So we should all look out for that. Now, another thing is developing an alcohol problem or drug problem. When you see someone abusing drugs or abusing alcohol, taking too much of alcohol, it could be that person is in an abusive relationship. Now, one of the victims shared with me and said that but this happened after she had left the marriage. She says that she went deep into her alcohol. She became an alcoholic. She would drink herself to stupor. She would always have a bottle of whiskey in her bag each time she goes out. Everywhere she goes, that bottle of whiskey has to go with her. Now, why? Because at that moment when she takes the alcohol, it gives her that kind of feeling, oh, my problems are over. We all know this, and that is what most alcoholics would use it as an excuse for taking alcohol. For those in problem, they'll tell you that it takes away my problem, but it's just for a while. She says it's just for a while, but when the alcohol clears from your eyes, you go back. And she says that when you take that alcohol and you are somewhat not in this realm with us, you don't see things normal. Like she says, the day runs very fast. But she says when you don't take alcohol, it's like the whole 24 hours is like a whole week. It takes a very long time before the day runs, and it reminds you of your problem at that point. So alcohol became like a solution for her, like a way out of her situation. So most of these people find comfort when they take alcohol. So when you see a woman taking excessive alcohol, and probably it's not even in her character to do so, you should look out for those women. They may be in abusive relationship or environment. And the last I'd like to talk about, I'll do another video because this seems to be long already, is when the person is constantly talking about suicide or even having the thoughts of it. When you sit down randomly with someone and he just begins to talk about suicide, people who have committed suicide, how the world would actually be better without them, how they've been a failure, so they would rather just leave the surface of the earth and just and just go. Maybe people would be more comfortable with their absence. Maybe, when the person continually blames themselves for something, or even when you have people around you that even have the thought of it, it is a warning sign that that person is in an abusive relationship. Now, talking about domestic abuse, I would make another part because I really do not want this video to be long. So when you hear people talk about domestic abuse and you hear us emphasizing, putting so much emphasis on domestic violence and how it is very important for us to get rid of it, you say probably you're one of those that say we make a lot of noise. Well, it is not. Domestic abuse is a delicate matter that we need to talk about. It affects generations and generations and generations. There are people who are abusers or the abused today because their parents or their grandparents were in that circle of abuse, and somehow it just got to them. They belong to a different generation, but it has gotten to them. I wouldn't say abuse is a default setting. I do not want to believe that is a default setting, or a person who is an abuser is an alcoholic or a drunkard. No. Although there is a relationship between abuse and alcoholism, and yeah, there is a relationship, but it is not the entirety of it. So it is not the main factor that warrants abuse. No, it's a circle that continues from generation to generation to generation, and if we're not able to address it today, it would turn out like a wildfire, if it's not even a wildfire as it is. So please join us in fighting against domestic violence. Listen to the person that comes to you to talk to you about their situation. You may just be their only hope and their only and the only person that they look up to actually help them out of their situation. Thank you very much. I'll make a part 2 of this video. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. So thank you very much once more, and until part 2, thank you for watching.